Hey, and welcome back to the HobbyFix Garage. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a Costa Rican coffee. So there you have it, Costa Rican coffee. So the next part of the build we're going to be working on is the transmission mount. I pulled out this Energy Suspensions polyurethane bushing that I had kicking around the garage, and we're going to be basing our mount off it. So we're getting to the critical part in the build where we're going to have to make sure we get the driveline angles correct so we don't get a vibration in the drive shaft. Using this little angle finder here, they're cheap to pick up. We're going to be taking the readings off the differential in the rear and the end of the transmission to make sure that we get equal and opposite angles. I'm going to be drawing up just a quick diagram to show you guys what I'm talking about. I know I should have become an artist. So I'll explain this to you here. This is my engine, and the line coming off it would be parallel to the crankshaft and the input shaft and output shaft of the transmission. So if we were to extend that line outwards and then look down at our differential, yep, that's a differential, and we were to go to the front flange here where you bolt it on and draw a line parallel out from that, we want the angle coming off the differential and the angle coming off the transmission to run perfectly parallel to each other. And then we're going to want to offset the drive shaft. And I'm not totally sure on this, but I think it's 1.5 to 3 degrees is ideal. And honestly, guys, when I first did my engine swap, I knew nothing about any of this stuff, and my angles were out huge. I never felt the vibration, so I don't know exactly how critical this is. I'm sure it does make a difference, but you want to keep your engine parallel, your differential parallel, and then have an offset that creates an angle of the drive shaft at 1.5 to 3 degrees between the two, either going up or down. So using the angle finder, we're going to be able to measure the angles coming off them. And one thing you got to be careful of is you don't want to stick your angle finder on the back of the transmission, flip it over, and then read the front of the differential, because what you really need to do is check the front of the engine and the front of the differential, because measuring the angle on this side here is not the same as measuring it on the front side. You guys got to be careful. Make sure that if your engine's pointed down, that your differential is pointed up at the tip, not the other way around. So if your engine's pointed down at the transmission, you don't want to point your differential down. You want to point it up to have the same parallel line. If that makes sense, I hope it does. If it doesn't, look up a little bit more information online, okay? Okay, so I got you pointed at the transmission tunnel of the 240Z. What I'm going to be doing now is getting underneath the car, getting a reading off the front of the differential and comparing it to the back of the transmission. And then I'm going to be using the jack that I have underneath to move the transmission up and down until I get it where it's got to be in the final position. Hopefully I don't have to move the engine up or down to get the right angle. It's a possibility, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'll let you guys know how it turns out.